Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to Master of Command, the real-time strategy and war game with roguelike elements on the strategic map and tactical combat in real time, kind of reminiscent of something like Total War, in the battle phase. We are in Act 2 of the 3-act campaign, playing as the British. Our army is at 13,000 men. We are out of food, suffering attrition, or about to. But fortunately for us, even though I was incompetent and didn't realize we were about to run out of food, an enemy army is approached, and we're going to fight them because, hey, there's no better way to get food than fight an enemy army with it, defeat them, and pillage their food. At least that's my viewpoint. So let's go ahead and jump in and fight this thing. Thankfully, before any real attrition damage. We are down an officer, but we'll see. Meanwhile, this enemy army it's got two sort of squares indicating quality. Looks like the 1st Brigade are Grenadiers and Fusiliers, so good quality units up there. Not dramatically more experienced. Actually, our 1st Brigade with Highland Foot, British Grenadiers, Light Dragoons, and Subsidy Field Artillery are all better from an experience point of view. Their 2nd Brigade, also all Fusiliers. I'm not sure we faced an enemy army with 2 full brigades of infantry. All, like, regulars. Their 3rd Brigade consists of 3 regiments of cavalry, and their 4th consists of 3 battalions of artillery, and then 1 of Fusiliers. So actually this is the most logically developed unit here too, where it's like infantry, cavalry, and artillery primarily in their 4 brigades. Ours are a little bit more mixed. I mix my units all around, kind of treating them more like corps in theory. If they were out marching on their own, they've each got artillery, infantry, and some also have cavalry. But that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and jump in and fight this battle in the snow. Hope you all got your long johns on as we wade through mounds of snow. All right, so what's the battlefield look like? Big-ass elevation. I think that's what this is. It's hard to tell. It could just be snow. Actually, that might just be I don't know. I would think it's an elevation based on the way these hills look like. Can I get them up there to see? No, that's just beyond. So we kind of got 2 options. We can either fort up along this sort of town and some of these lot lines, or we can go for the high ground and deploy on that. I actually think I prefer the lot lines here. The only problem is the artillery doesn't get a option to shoot. Does it really go all the way over there, right? Okay. Alright, we're going to deploy along this fence line. Okay. Alright. We can shift these grenadiers left if they're going to try and go around this river and around our flank, but the river will slow them down. They don't use bridges effectively. And that will allow me to have a couple of units of reserves on the left flank. The general will hang out here. We'll deploy field artillery behind the lines here. Okay. Grenzers will get redcoats behind him as reserves. I don't really know what to do with the artillery. I think they can fire through your own lines pretty effectively. Maybe not with canister, but we don't use that, so. I don't think the game holds that strictly with line of sight. I mean, maybe we could move the artillery over here. I guess this puts them at risk of getting destroyed if the enemy does go up and over our left. But I could always shoot troops over the river there to help them if it looks like the enemy's going that way. So maybe we will do that. We'll set up a grand battery here. It will have an opportunity to enfilade the enemy positions. As they approach, we'll shift those grenadiers over the river if necessary to support them. I think we'll put one subsidy battery maybe right here. Each have 4 batteries of artillery. Those guys can theoretically fire between the lines, and we'll put one back here. I don't actually know if that's how the game will reward us or not, but alright. We'll let the enemy army come to us. I didn't really place my cavalry ideally. I guess I could just move my cavalry over here to guard the artillery if necessary. The dragoons particularly. The weaker dragoons, not the stronger ones. These guys are going wide right by the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like the enemy is going to move at least a brigade over to our far left. To that end, we'll put these guys in the wood line here that kind of covers the... Yeah. Try to move them in column formation so they can get there more quickly. I actually really should just do that. Move them directly across the river as quickly as possible. We'll deploy them in this wood line here, and then if the enemy does want to swing around us, they'll have to deal with at least one regiment of grenadiers. It is a hill. I mean, it's a massive hill. But I don't really want to redeploy my troops all the way over there in the snow. Plus, frankly, I don't know really what the balance is on elevation versus cover. But 64% cover for these units is pretty damn good. Like, I'll take that cover. We'll deploy the cavalry on the far flank over here. Now that the infantry is through, we'll deploy them in this wood line here. If rivers were more of an obstacle, I'd feel really good about anchoring ourselves on that flank, but... I need to get better guns. Then I've got these guys over here on this elevation. In theory, if the enemy is going to go after our flank here, the cavalry can come up behind him and hit him in the rear or flank. And have the benefit of charging down the hill. I wonder if weather at all impacts the effectiveness of artillery in this game. I don't really know the answer to that. Spread out a little bit better to get slightly better firing positions. Rather you guys concentrate your fire. Do you really need to move forward to hit him there? Looks like it. I guess just shoot at who you can hit there. The line ends just in front of that regiment. So we got 3 of our 4 batteries firing on this one Austrian veteran Fusilier unit here. Back line's been pulped. Look at all those bodies and blood in the snow. In theory, the benefit is the artillery's right behind him for now. Actually, this one looks like we did a few casualties on a long-range ricochet. They're coming forwards. Jeez Louise. Those are balls, several of them were crashing into this artillery, almost like, are we shooting at that artillery? Doesn't look like it, nobody is. They're just shooting long and then hitting him. Keep ricocheting into him, boys. Do you think it would be interesting if the AI bothered to try to maybe change their formation up? It seems like they really just sort of form up and then come right at you every time. As the enemy gets closer, these flank batteries are more likely to enfilade their position. Well, why they're turning their flank to face the dragoons there. They really don't want to let my cavalry be on their flank. They really just want to expose their flank? Okay. Granted, I don't have as long of a line as I would like to fire into their flank. No bayonets. Supposedly you fire more accurately that way. I don't know if that was a meaningful difference, but... Artillery's really trying to hammer these guys. Well, they definitely have mixed up their formations. They're kind of confusing me. I guess maybe they're going for that artillery? Getting rid of the bayonets while they shoot. Forgot about these troops up here on this river, or up on this hill. Got themselves shot up to no purpose, didn't even return fire. These guys are really taking a beating. I guess that's where the bulk of the enemy, artillery shooting. Artillery is sort of getting smart and switching up fire as they see fit. Firing on these close fusiliers here. I'm confused what they're doing here. Am I getting shot at from the flank from these guys? It looks like it. But they just kind of went over there. Do we have a unit that's routing? The subsidy recruits not having a good day? Alright, you pull back over here to avoid the enemy fire on that flank. Alright, cavalry's gonna charge into these guys. Shattered them. Good job. Subsidy recruits pulled back, but they're at least reforming. Over here. My boys have their bayonets off. At least some of them do. But seem to be fighting the enemy at a pretty even footing. Shift your fire to face that enemy infantry that's coming your way. Go fire into their flank. Hopefully that enemy infantry doesn't turn to face us. 200 casualties inflicted without loss. Not bad. These grenadiers are taking some damage. Don't know if this is smart. Run away before they can turn and shoot at you. We took some casualties there, but we did I'd say a pretty good amount of damage to the enemy. Enemy cavalry's up and around my flank. Alright, my right flank's actually in a surprising amount of trouble. Let's move this infantry over here to refuse. We do have reserves. So we're holding pretty solid on the left, but the right flank is an issue. Alright, we shattered them. Alright, my goal is just to push forward and shatter everybody we can shatter. God damn it. This is what I get for not paying attention. as they drive off my right. God damn it, my artillery shattered. I really hope they're not permanently dead. They took like no casualties. Alright, they broke my dragoons on the right there with some cavalry that they had way back in reserve guarding their guns. Yeah, we're about 2 hours beyond what YouTube is at. Any of these boys rally? What up? Actually, don't do that. Don't charge there. I don't think I forgot to give these guys bayonets are out. The question is, how many of these units are going to get, like, totally wrecked to the point where they're lost? The casualties on most of these units are not too high. Get my general out of there. You're supposed to turn and shoot at these guys. How much cavalry? Oh my god, this is the first time it's really felt like the enemy cavalry is overwhelming. We just wrecked them on the other flank. This flank has been disastrous. Don't march there, just shoot at these guys. Good job, dragoons. Sending them off there. Now go charge those retreating assholes. Okay. Why did they get intercepted by the very corner of that enemy grenadier regiment that then absorbed the bulk of their charge? Okay. we go. Well, now we just gotta knock out these guns, and then the thing's over. That was not a pretty fight. But we got it done. There we go. Well, I guess we see how many units got destroyed. Hopefully none. I'm really nervous about those artillery units. They're so damn expensive to replace. They barely took any casualties. Their just morale broke, but they didn't actually suffer, I don't think. Anyway, we got almost 1,000 gold. We probably need to do the exchange, if only because I need the provisions. We lost 4,600 men. The recruits would be nice, but I need that. I need those provisions. Doesn't look like any of the units were totally destroyed, so that's good. I do have 4 regiments in reserve that I kind of forgot about. Replace about half our losses. Reload and accuracy. Where are the Hessians? They're over here, right? Their accuracy is lower. I have to spend 100 gold, though, to give them another perk. Okay. Spending a lot of gold to get some of these guys additional benefits. I'd actually rather Charlevilles for those guys. Okay. Just so I don't forget the free stuff I've got. I also don't see the point in equipping artillery with sabers and stuff, because in theory you've got that as an option, but it's also like, what's the point when you never survive to the point of meleeing with them? They just die on impact. Uh, 5 days. Well, I need to get to Guben and get more ammo, more recruits, more food. Whoa, where are you going? You're supposed to go in that town. Alright. Sell the uniforms, the breastplates, the brooches, all the extras. Okay, that gets me almost to 2 grand before they almost run out of money buying all my stuff. That's weird. Like auto scrolls down. Alright, so we got 1900 gold. Food is damn cheap, 16. Just went hog wild and spent, well, like 300 gold there. But that's the cheapest I've ever seen food, so yes, please. I need more recruits. This isn't the cheapest I've seen it, but I need the recruits. That still ate everything we had. It's a pretty standard price for recruits for what it is. What it's worth. Seriously? Alright. Fully equipped. I'd like to keep over 1,000 gold, so that's kind of a lot of ammo to be eaten up. Armies are damn expensive to keep equipped in this game. Hey, Pre-March. I see the Classy Packs emote. Alright, we also need an officer. We'll go with the cheapest one. Augustus von Stockenhausen. I need another brigade, but I need 2,300 gold to get that. We were 1,000 off at the start of this whole rigmarole. Alright, so we've got plenty of food. We've got some recruits. Our ammo's still not replenished. I forgot about that. Alright, ammo's replenished. Some of the units probably can upgrade. The subsidy recruits can become... I guess I'll go with the land mills. They get better, just slightly across the board. Grenzer recruits can upgrade to Fusiliers. They lose men. Do they become light infantry? I don't want them to be light infantry. Well, it says they're Fusiliers. I don't know why they're such a small unit. I mean, I get the men back. But that is kind of weird. It does say they're light infantry, huh? But then they can become grenadiers? I don't understand that. Highland Foot can upgrade to Highland Grenadiers. They actually lose accuracy with that. But gain on pretty much everything else. Hanoverian Foot become Hanoverian Grenadiers. I think the sacrifice of manpower in a few cases and a small amount of accuracy is worth it for the extra discipline they get. Especially with as you get further into the game, where the AI becomes charge happy. Like when the AI is charging you every chance they get, it is absolutely worth more morale. I need more. They can't be them yet. Okay, everybody upgraded who can upgrade. I could buy another regiment, but to what point, you know? I could buy better equipment, perhaps. Could we get better guns? Do we have enough for that? What's the difference? So reload time is 15-second difference with a not insignificant increase. What about the... Do they have a 6-pound bronze gun? That's what I'd want. So, our artillery, we've got 6-pounders to 25 shot damage, and then 3-pounders with 15. There is a considerable difference in reload speed, 15 seconds. But you get more range. And is accuracy different? Accuracy's less on the 6-pounder than the 3-pounder? That's interesting. We have 2 bronze 3-pounders? What's the difference? Are the same thing? Same shot damage? They're more accurate, I guess. Generally, I think the extra weight of shell is worth it. Okay. Why is the bronze 3-pounder so much more expensive than the standard 3-pounder? There's a 5% accuracy difference and a 15 difference in range, which is negligible. The reload speed is 5 seconds faster, but the shot damage is the same. That seems like a hefty upgrade to not get much more. Anyway, I think sticking with the 6-pound irons is probably our best bet right now. Do I get staff college? Are these like general bonuses? They're for staff officers? Or are they from they're for regiments? They're for no. Regimental staff commissar. That would be a nice perk to have. Anyway, I don't think I want to spend more money here. So let's see what we do here. We've got 60 days. We need to dismantle one more slum. There's one up here. Is that really the closest one? One way back here I'm not going to make it to. So this is probably the closest one up near Leipzig. I would assume we'll face an enemy before we get there. I want to know what defeating a fort gets me, though, so we'll go for this fort. It's on the way, kind of. One level 2 officer or tallers. I've got a full complement of officers right now. We do get 100 gold for every city we step foot in. Are you really going to pursue me here? You really think that's in your best interest? Okay. I will fight you. You're half my size. They do have artillery, fusiliers, a full brigade of cavalry, which might be annoying. Only one brigade of infantry, though. I think the game here is consolidate into a tighter mass, and then we can just volley their cavalry to death. I don't know. We'll see. All these battles in the snow. Alright, do we have a good defensive position to hold on? Not particularly. If we go, I think with denser masses of troops, we will have better results against enemy cavalry. Okay. We'll put our regiments of cavalry behind the guns. I don't actually know if this is a good strategy or not, but we'll see. Oh, those are the light infantry, that's right. Okay. Why is my officer in the light infantry? Is there a way to choose which unit your officer's in? Alright. Let's let the enemy come up to us. I know I'm kind of exposing my flank, but my hope is the enemy comes toward these troops and then I hit them in the flank. It looks like they're going to concentrate on my right flank, which I guess is what I would do too. Fighting in the snow, was it that common in Europe? I don't know enough about Frederick the Great to know, to be honest. I don't think it was super common. I think most armies bedded down during the winter, but you did have, even in Napoleon's time, things like the Battle of Eylau, which was absolutely fought in the snow. Are they not coming up to face me? Because that would be a difference. I think they're just waiting to get into position. I don't think my guys can really hit this artillery very effectively, but we're going to fire at it anyway. Hopefully to minimize the damage they're doing to my boys. One battery's not too big of a concern, but... some of those shots didn't hit the artillery, but I might have ricocheted into other units. Switch the artillery to shoot at these guys. My boys, my beautiful boys. I've got all this cavalry and light infantry stacked up on the flank, because if they're going to come right in on the Hessians, I will gladly hit them in the flank. Granted, they've got cavalry over here as well. But that's why I've got my light infantry backed up with cavalry. Some of those shells skipping into the enemy cavalry ranks. 11 casualties there inflicted there. But we have been shooting at the grenadiers. These redcoat recruits are getting beat up a bit. I'll probably advance the bulk of my left flank, my infantry, as soon as they push on these redcoat recruits. Alright, they've got better range, so I'm going to advance my own troops to engage at them. Granted, we'll lose some of the cover, but there's a little bit of elevation here we might gain. Nope, never mind. God, those rounds are skipping long. Redcoat morale is not gonna probably hold up very long. They're really going up and around our flank. They are much larger. Well, not much larger. Slightly larger. There you go, boys. Drove them back easy. Wrecked that cavalry with the countercharge. Got ahead of the light infantry and hit them hard. These grenadiers are getting savaged. Down to 400, they shattered quick. We'll advance off that defensive line. Push the fight on the enemy. They forming up for a charge? Looks like they got in a big mass. Yeah, it sounds like it. Alright, they got hit in the flank by that Hessian volley, and now they're already retreating as my own Hessian troops charge in on their flank. Might be able to shatter them, yep. My Grunzer Fusiliers. Apparently my Fusiliers drove back an enemy cavalry charge all by themselves. Good job, boys. Oh, they're behind you. They drive off one of my cavalry units? Yeah, they shattered them or drove them. Killed the officer, too? God damn it. Well, this devolved a bit. My Hessian musketeers got out there trying to go after the enemy artillery. Overall, I think still a good result of a fight, but not quite as pretty as I'd like. I lost an officer. And then these British Light Dragoons, I think, were destroyed. I'm guessing that's what the skull means, which they were a level 7 unit, which is not... That is, like, this whole battle might not be worth it to lose a unit like that. I was looking away and the enemy charged him. Hessians, just retreat. The enemy cavalry really is resilient. I shouldn't have charged them. I should order them to reload. And I think the enemy is pretty much done except the one regiment that's still standing and fighting. Is it better let infantry stand still? That's good to know. I assumed the charge benefit was benefit. I didn't realize he had a bracing bonus. Okay, about 500 gold, not as much as I would like. 3,000 casualties, a lot more than I would like. I don't need the provisions, so that's good at least. Dealers and ammo. I guess we'll go with the equipment or the replacements. There goes one of the dragoon units. Damn. Suppose the good news is I've got replacements. Just drop them in. I can just instantly replace my losses with what was already in stock. Captured colors. Lost an officer, right? I didn't lose an officer, it was just a unit. Okay. Food is cheap here, which is great, but I don't need it. Okay. I need a way to get that 5th Brigade cheaper. Otherwise I might be in some trouble with this final battle when it comes up. I need more units. Okay. I guess I could pillage the town. That's a way to get cash. Sorry, boys. Consumes a bit of time to do it, but... Headquarters notified and the enemy sent an army at me. Okay. Another battle to be fought. The cavalry is what I don't know how to counter. All those heavy charging, once they're like heavy charging units, they're real tough to... Alright everybody, that's gonna do it for today's episode. We will fight this battle, but we'll do it next time. We've been going for almost an hour, so until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.